Hello, welcome back to my car cave. Today we have another 1/12 scale example from GP Replicas, this time of the 1989 Ferrari 640 F1 driven by Nigel Mansell to a win at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Let's take the cover off and look at the details up close. As you can see here, this is another beautifully designed uh, offering from GP Replicas. Comes on the standard base with the acrylic cover, has a plaque on here, a photo etched plaque showing that it's Nigel Mansell's Hungarian Grand Prix winner, limited edition of 250. The regular version car would have been a release of 500. Again, this is a larger scale, which gives the opportunity to present more details. I do like these 1/12 scales. They provide a nice variation from the 1/18ths that I mostly collect. But they are bigger, so you have to choose which ones you want for your collection. And again, because this comes with the acrylic cover, unlike the 1/18th, which I have a case for, this makes it a lot easier for me to display in a dust-free environment. So what I think we're going to do is put this down and we'll look at this against its 1/18th example and go through some of the differences. Here you can see the difference between the scales, the 1/12th obviously being the larger and the 1/18th being the smaller. Again, the 1/12 scale is a race-specific version. The 1/18th, to the best of my knowledge, is a generic version of the 1989 640 car. So why don't we look at the details more closely, and I'll show you the differences between the 1/12th and the 1/18th scale. One of the first differences I noticed are some of the decaling. So up here on the front wing, you have this kind of yellowy gold carbon fiber stripe, as well as on the base. Those do not appear on the 1/18 scale. And then back here, you have the AGIP in white, which is consistent from what I find online. However, the 1/18 appears in a yellow make, and I cannot find that for the life of me in a race variation. It seems to be more in a static or show car variation. They did use it in 1990, so I'm not sure if there's confusion about that, but that's something on the 1/18 scale that doesn't seem correct to me. Additionally, when the carbon fiber decals are applied here on the 1/12 scale, they are glossy not only on the wings, but on the floorboard of the car. And what I've noticed is on the 1/18 scale, it is actually a matte one, which is probably a little bit more realistic. I don't think any of this glossy carbon fiber treatment is super realistic, but it does look nice. So I can't complain about it. And I will say the pattern of the carbon fiber, I believe it's the same decal. So obviously on 1/12, it seems a little more scale appropriate than it does, say, on the 1/18 scale. Next, I'd like to point out with the larger 1/12 scale, it's a much easier task to put all these extra rivets on the car. So while the 1/18 scale does a great job of putting these larger rivets through the bodywork of the car, the 1/12 scale has all these additional smaller rivets carrying out through the bodywork on the side, as well as some additional rivets on the top and photo etch parts on the gas cap that are not on the 1/18th. You also get the ones on the window screen or the windscreen. Those are not on the 1/18 scale, but look pretty good on 1/12 scale. So again, having 1/12 scale provides an opportunity to have a little bit more detail. So the rear wing here is also different. This is from the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's a multi-tiered wing with the white AGIP, and it has this stabilizer here. Um, that does not appear on the 1/18 scale, but again, I think the 1/18 scale is a generic car. And also the gearbox back here is painted aluminum color with the gold for the lifter setup. That's not on the 1/18th. The 1/18th is just generic black plastic. So again, an upgrade for the 1/12 scale. Again, with 1/12 scale, the cockpit is also nicer. It's the flocking and stuff is more proportionate, particularly on the steering wheel. Steering wheel on the 1/18 just looks like big fuzzy steering wheel, whereas this one actually you can see the contours and the shape of the steering wheel. A little easier to get some better decals on the dashboard as well as on the inside of the cockpit. It's done in carbon fiber. Also, the shape of the seat is a little different on the 1/18th than here. This looks a little more realistic to the shape. Also, I like the color of this better. It's a darker kind of tan color. The 1/18th is a lighter cream color. I believe this darker tan is actually the more accurate one. And you get this nice little detail of the Scuderia shield on the headrest. It does appear on the 1/18th, but it looks better here. So, yeah. So again, being a larger model, it's easier to have more detail, and you can barely see it there. But this is the first car with a semi-automatic shifting, and there's, I guess, some pedals behind the steering wheel that you can't see on the 1/18 scale. Then the next real difference I see is, on the tires. Here you get a better Goodyear marking. It's that stenciled look that you can't do at the 1/18 scale. It's a little bit harder. That said, also I think the scale of the front tires looks more appropriate here on 1/12. The 1/18 is super. The sidewall is very narrow. It almost looks like a drag tire. I don't know. It does not look like the right scale to me. It's always bothered me, but it looks good in 1/12. But that said, going back to the rear tire, you have this huge lip here, which I'll try to highlight. This kind of squared off lip that just doesn't look right. It would have been more rounded into the top part of the tire. So I don't. That's a drawback for these larger scales. Is sometimes uh, things get exaggerated. You also get this nice stem valve on the 1/12 that you don't get on the 1/18th. So there's a quick review of the differences between the 1/18th and 1/12 scale version of the 1989 Ferrari 640 made by GP Replicas. If you liked the video, please go ahead and subscribe, hit like. If you have any comments, add those. I'll try to respond as quick as I can. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll have some more videos soon.